Hi everyone, here's what's bothering me today. Don't you just hate being right sometimes? Well, I'm not the only one apparently. There's someone who put out a tweet back in December of 2020, and boy howdy has she turned out to be absolutely right. The person in question is Raina Duris, and here's what she said way back on December 8th, 2020. People are dying and losing their livelihoods, and they're using the budget earmarked specifically to help us with this exact situation to pay down the deficit. And they're going to trot that out as fiscal responsibility at election time. And yeah, she's referring to the fact that we were getting here in Ontario a lot of funds from the feds to try and deal with the early stages of the pandemic. And what's happening is that the current government of Ontario, run by Doug Ford and the Progressive Conservative Party of Ontario, they are using a rule that they have which says that the Ontario budget says that if the money remains unspent in the reserves by the end of the fiscal year, it will be used to reduce the deficit and provincial debt. In other words, they are using money that's supposed to help people right here, right now, and to save lives, but instead, they are using it to pay off the deficit. And if you're wondering why I'm using present tense terms, it's because they actually did this, and Raina was absolutely right in her prediction. From Nahid Dosani, new, the Financial Accountability Office has found the Ontario government didn't spend any of the $2.7 billion COVID-19 response transfer payment it received. This money could have made schools safer for our children and prevented a lot of suffering and deaths. Just sickening. That was over a week ago on September 15th. And then just yesterday, you had this from Robert Benzie. Breaking, despite record spending, ON Gov deficit for 2020-2021 was $16.4 billion, far lower than the projected pandemic shortfall of $38.5 billion. Revenues up $8.8 billion, due mostly to one-time federal transfers. So yeah, Raina, as someone who also is unfortunately right about a lot of things, respect, I see you. But yeah, wow, Doug Ford and the PCs really went mask off and basically said in as many terms, money is more important than people. Now, most of us who follow the Conservatives know this already. It's just kind of wild that they decided, you know what, yeah, may as well just be brutally honest about ourselves and our intentions. Hundreds, if not thousands of avoidable deaths and health problems as people with long COVID, and we find out more of the effects as the years go on. Doug Ford has shown himself to be absolutely monstrous in handling this pandemic. Thousands of people could have been saved and averted death and suffering, but he just saw dollar signs in his eyes. And I mean, come on, don't you just really love money more than people? Look, the deficit's super low now. I'm sure they're going to start talking about that very soon since we have an election here in 9 months. Which is why those of us here in Ontario need to also gear up for yet another fight. In less than a year, we go to the polls again, this time to try and turf a monster who has been in power for 4 long, terrible years. And if you're wondering if this means I'm basically going to do a Doug Ford version of my recent Justin Trudeau and the Liberal Party video, yeah, that's probably going to happen. But it is so disheartening to see. It is not surprising, but it is still very disheartening and disappointing to see that literal billions of dollars that were given in good faith by the federal government to Ontario to try and help the people of Ontario was instead used for a political vanity project of the deficit rather than saving people's lives. So whenever a Conservative in the very near future is going to talk about, but look, see, he's got spending under control, look, the deficit's way down, don't you want more of the same? No. Because that was money that should have gone to saving the lives of thousands of Ontarians. And the fact that you see dollar signs instead of people is absolutely what's bothering me today.